Anyway, the doctor told me, he said, look, you've got so much cholesterol in your system. And my brother died at my age. He died at 53. I'll be 54 this year. And he died of a heart attack. And I thought, you know what? This is years ago. He said, look, you can take Lipitor. But I thought, well, doesn't that kill your liver? And he's like, well, pick your poison, how you're going to die. And I thought, oh, man, I wish I could go back in time and I could eat fresh fruits and vegetables then. But anyway, that's for another talk. That's for another time. I'm getting on my vegetarian pulpit here. but what I can tell you is that Southern California, we're going to talk a little bit about sustainability. Does everybody think they have a good grasp of what sustainability is? Yeah, okay. You know what? You can go to Wikipedia and you could read their 5 or 6 paragraphs on their definition of what sustainability is. I'll tell you what sustainability is in a nutshell. Sustainability is living today without borrowing from tomorrow. Okay, would you agree with that? So the thing we want to remember then is that the things that we put into motion right now are going to affect future generations to come. Now, did anybody here ever see the movie The Matrix? Keanu Reeves? I think, okay, a lot of hands going up. Okay, you know, think of that movie. What was real, what they thought was real, wasn't. And when you walk outside these doors here, I'd like you to think of the world, the South Bay that we live in, as the Matrix, the world of the Matrix. You know, civilizations throughout time built around water. And where water dried up, civilizations dried up. Here's a question. If there was no water that came to your faucet, you know, I can guarantee the very first thing every single one of us does, when we get up in the bathroom, you shoot over to the bathroom. You get up in the morning, out of bed, you shoot to the bathroom, you do what you got to do. Horror of horrors would happen if you turn the faucet on and drip, drip, drip. Nothing came out, would it? You flush the toilet, and okay, well, it didn't quite all go, so let's flush it again. Nothing happens. Imagine the $10 million strand properties in Manhattan Beach, in Redondo Beach, or Hermosa Beach, would be penniless. You wouldn't even give them away. They'd be worthless, because without water, there's no life. We would have mass exodus out of the beach area. It's a fact that Southern California is a desert. Always has been a desert. What you see outside was artificially created. All the lawns you see, all the trees, all the life basically was brought here about less than 100 years ago. The forefathers, the Mulhollands, the great engineers of 80, 90 years ago decided, you know what? We don't have a lot of water here because we're a desert. Southern California is a desert. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring water down to Southern California. So there's a lot of places, there is some local groundwater in Southern California, but basically there's 2 huge ponds, if you will, of water that come down to Southern California. One of them is in Sacramento. Anybody ever driven to Sacramento here? Okay, long drive, isn't it? I mean, it takes hours. It's a day drive. Okay, anybody ever driven to Colorado? That's a flight. You're talking. You don't typically go to Colorado in a car. You generally fly there. Well, the 2 main sources of water that California has actually comes from the Colorado River, and it comes from Sacramento, called the California State Water Project. Every day, Southern California imports, let me backtrack here. You go to the store, you buy a gallon of water, 8 pounds. 8 pounds. I mean, the thing is heavy. You have your bag of groceries, and then, you come back and you get your 8 pounds, your gallon of water. Well, every day, Southern California imports 1 1.5 billion, with a B, billion gallons of water. It's just staggering. The pumps that bring water to Southern California consume about 20% of the electricity that's produced in California. So when you waste water, you're wasting electricity. Because you know the water doesn't just magically come to your faucet. Huge pumps bring it there. It's at a huge expense of electricity. Well, I'll give you an illustration. As long as, let's say you have a bus, and you have 100 people in the bus, and they all pay $1 for the bus ride. That covers the bus driver, it covers the wear and tear on the bus, it covers the insurance, it covers all the incidentals. Well, as long as everybody pays $1, there's no problem. But what would happen if for some reason 2 people showed up for the bus ride? Well, it used to be $100 you'd make on a bus ride, now you're making 2. So you have 1 of 2 choices. Either you have to charge each of those people $50 a piece, or you go from $1 to $50 a piece for a bus ride, or you shut the bus down. Well, the water situation is very much like that in California. For the first time in the history of the United States, over half the United States has declared drought. We've all seen Governor Brown declare an emergency drought here in the state of California. That was all over the news. Well, what's happened is as long as there were a lot of people paying money for the drought, for water, you know, they had a lot of money coming in, they were able to keep things up. But because people are seeing the rise in their water bills, they're using less water. Well, when people get their bills and they're like, wait a minute, I've turned the water off on my sprinklers, you know, so and my bill shows, it reflects that it's going down, 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 but the bills are going up, up, up. I had one client in Manhattan Beach, I asked him the other day, I said, Don, so how's your water bill? He's got grass in his front and backyards. He said, oh, it's about $1,500. Oh. And he said nonchalantly, like he's used to it. Like, oh yeah, you know, that's what we're paying. Manhattan Beach is actually their own water district, and then Torrance has theirs, but then there's California